Oh goodness, it is cold out there. -18, that's insane. Welcome to the new shop. We have the heat going, so I do apologize for some background noise. If it wasn't so cold outside, I would probably shut the furnace off. But anyways, so first of all, I wanted to kind of show you everything that we've done, and then later on in the video, it's going to seem like we're traveling back in time, but it's going to go more in depth about all of the different steps that we've taken to get to this point. All right guys, so as you can see, pretty decent sized shop compared to what I had before. This is a 40 by 120 by 14. The one that I came from is probably like a 30 by 48 or something like that with a 10-foot ceiling. So this is quite a difference. There was some changes. I know in my previous video I said that there was gonna be a wall down there. However, we decided to just leave this all open. So that's gonna change things a lot. So I'll go into that a little bit deeper, but first of all, I just want to kind of take you on a walk around to show you kind of what we're dealing with. All right, so I know already a lot of people are gonna be like, that corner back there looks dark. Well, it does, because there's no lights hanging up there. I ran out of hardware, so I will be going over there in the corner. There'll be 2 more lights that go there, and it'll light that whole side up. So first of all, I just want to kind of show you, we have the 4-post lift, the 56 Chevy, the 67 Mustang, 77 Camaro. I've got so many things in here at once. I hope I have all these years right. But anyways, so these are all projects that I do for my YouTube channel. They're customers' cars. These 2 I haven't even mentioned in my YouTube videos yet, but that one I've done tons of work to. I'll just show you what this lighting is like. I mean, you can see every little detail. So that is what I'm super excited about. My last shop was not like that at all, and this is just going to be a game changer for prepping and wet sanding, buffing, painting, everything. So yeah, the biggest thing is there's going to be 4 bay doors right here. They're 12 by 12 doors, and this is going to allow for a ton of cars to be parked here. I mean, obviously you can have one at every single door and then in between every single door as well, and have plenty of space. And that's just the front row, because you can also park a ton up front here. So, all right, so the change was there was gonna be a wall right here that was gonna go across, and that was gonna divide like a actual shop area, and then the storage space that was gonna be back here. Well, the wall is no longer going to be there. So basically we're just taking everything all the way to this far wall right here, and there will be little rooms that are going to be built. So that up here is going to be office area where I can order parts and stuff like that. A little closet that'll go there, and then a 16 by 24 paint booth. So you're talking this post right here all the way to this second post right here. So it's going to be a pretty good sized paint booth. Later on I'll go into the stuff way more in depth. So the line that goes all the way across there is for the compressed air, and there's different drops and supplies down through here. Again, I explain later what the thought process is and why I ran it all like this, because there is a very, very important reason why I ran it like this. So we've got the materials in here for the paint booth and the office, stuff like that. The ceiling is going to be covered in drywall to hold up some blown-in insulation so that we can get this place real warm. Right now, again, temperature outside is so cold, it's hard to tell how this thing's going to do on a normal day. I know the other day it was 32 outside, I believe, and I was in here working, and I set it on 50, and it was maintaining 50 very, very easily. The idea is to get the heat down into this section where we're actually going to be working at, because right now if you crawl up there, it is hot up there. So we're just going to try to contain that all the way down here, and then I'll probably put some fans in to help distribute the heat through the building a little bit better. The lighting and the electrical stuff, I'm gonna go in depth later in the video as well. If I can figure out how to do the whole YouTube timeline thing, then you should be able to find little links down in the description where you can skip around, and maybe even if you wanted to come back later and watch it again, just to reference certain parts of the video. All right guys, so we're hopefully going to brighten this place up a little bit first. As you can see up there, I've put my boxes where all the fixtures are going to go, and for lighting, I'm going to have a high bay UFO style light. So basically it's a real bright LED circular light, and it's specifically designed for higher ceilings. So it's 14 foot and higher, and that's what we have here is 14 foot. So depending on what website you look at, some of them recommend a crazy amount, some of them recommend a lower amount. So we're just gonna start with the first quote I got. So basically 19,500 lumens, and these are made by Sunco, but they are a very, very bright light. So let me show you one I have assembled here. So basically it's just got a little eye bolt that bolts onto the top there. That's how it's held to the ceiling. Very lightweight, maybe like 2.5 pounds. But this is extremely, extremely bright. So I'm hoping that with 16 of these, we should be good to go across the front. The install is super easy. It actually has a plug on it, so that makes it even easier, because basically you just go up there, you mount your receptacles, and some of you already might have receptacles on the ceiling, but since it's a new barn, we are working on the electrical right now. So have the meter base for the electrical company right there, panels over there, and a ton of wire. So we're hopefully going to start cooking through this. I'm not going to show every single little detail because obviously I'm not an electrician. I'm just wanting to go over lighting and kind of the requirements of how we're going to set the shop up. For the panel, we're using a 200 amp square D, has tons of spaces on it, and this is going to be more than enough for this shop. The spray foam is on the walls. Ended up going with 2 to 3 inches of spray foam. It's probably more like 3 to 4, honestly. That's gonna help hold this heat in big time. The lift, I gotta put the cables back in and stuff like that, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. It actually has caster wheels that'll go onto the bottom, and then you lower the lift all the way down. It actually picks the whole thing, all the posts and the runners and everything, and you can actually just push it across the shop wherever you want. So this is not going to be where this goes. This is just kind of here to assemble it, and we're using the forks to get everything together. I'm doing all the plumbing for my compressed air, and you can see how I routed the lines all the way up, over, and then there's a couple drops that I've got so far. I'm going to put the other drop down there at the end where the paint booth is. So the reason that I've routed it like this is I've found that this is probably the best way to get the moisture out, is to come straight up, run across, and then have several drops that just go down the other side. So basically, you know, maybe your first one you might have like a little bit of moisture in. And the other thing too, real quick, is I've got a filter that gets all the moisture out of the compressed air that I use for my air tools. So that's super important, because water in your air tools is a no-no. But if you look, there's this little, I think it's billet, a billet block right there, aluminum block. All this stuff is very, very nice pieces. I'll go over the actual product and what it's called here in a minute, but it reminds me of PEX, but that's not exactly what it is. But basically, you have 1/2 inch pipe fittings right here, and then that's where I'm going to tie into my actual filter for my moisture. So that's going to get 99.9% of the moisture out of the air just right there. So, and then I'll probably go ahead and get another one for over here. You'll notice that this is still in the shop area with a length of 120 feet going that way. You want to have several supplies, that way you're not dragging, you know, 100 and some worth of hose over there. So, and then you'll see over here, I've routed it to where it ends right there at the post. And then basically it'll do a 90 degree and then come straight down, and then we'll just kind of leave it loosely hanging for now. But this will be the supply that's actually going to be the paint booth. So by the time that the water goes all the way up, over, and you know, going through several drops and stuff like that, the idea is that this is the farthest away from the compressor, and ideally all the water should be out by that point. Early on, when I was trying to teach myself how to paint cars, one of the most common problems I ran into was just moisture in my lines. So I found out long ago that you got to do this crazy looking stuff just to get all the moisture out of it. All right guys, so this is the box. It's MaxLine by Rapid Air, and M7500 is the master kit for the 3/4 inch. As you can see, you get a roll. I think it's 100 foot of the 3/4 tubing that they give you, and then you have all these supplies that come down here. They're blocks, and basically this is going to give you enough for just about any shop, because I was actually just going to use this box alone until we ended up taking that wall out, and I had to actually just go get more of the 3/4 inch tubing. But again, for this size of a building for me, and again, this is 120 by 40, I think I've got like $300 worth of you know, very nice equipment and stuff here. I will be critical of one thing though, okay? This stuff is really stiff. All right, so this is it, and you can definitely work it. You know, you can bend it, and it will actually hold its shape. So you can, you know, bend it pretty much any way you want, which is nice because, as you can see, I came off of the compressor straight up and then did a 90 up here with no fittings whatsoever. So I just bent it and it stayed. But the problem is, all right, they gave you these black clips, and I just dug this out of the trash can because honestly, for this type of material, that's probably where it belongs. I'm just trying to be completely straight up honest with you. So if you're doing this, maybe like 1 or 2 people, this is very hard. I mean, especially with 14-foot ceilings. I'm up there maybe on a ladder, or we had this little work bucket on the truck, but this is just not going to cut it, because you drill them in and then you go to snap it in, but then as you're pulling and trying to straighten this line out, it's just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, falling off the ones you've already hung down there. So I opted for this. It's an inch, like electrical style, and of course you can see it's not coming out of there. It is completely locked in, versus this is like a snap-on type deal, and it sounds snappy and it holds pretty good right now. But when you're talking, you know, trying to straighten stuff out and run it down the full length of your barn, it just creates a big mess. Go get yourself some inch clamps, completely enclosed like this with 2 holes. Makes things so much easier, get it a lot straighter, and you're good to go. The other thing is they do sell other parts, so if you need to make, you know, a 90-degree angle here with an elbow, they sell those. This was actually just the end of the length. You can still see the protective cover they have at the end that's red there. This is just kind of where it fell, which is really convenient because I was going to run down that post anyways. So I can't, you know, normally you could just go and bend it and come straight down, but since it's the very end, I'll have to make some kind of connection right there and then come down with a 90. So those 90s and a bunch of other things are all available separately, but again, I really like this stuff. It's got a very clean look to it, very good quality block and stuff like that. The only thing was the plastic clips, so I would definitely recommend just going and getting other clips, unless they've already fixed that problem in some of the new stuff. I haven't looked. But for the time being, obviously I got to put the ceiling in, so as that's kind of going together, I'm going to probably jump on stripping down one of these cars. Probably start with the Mustang, and the reason why is because everything that I use out here, it has to be at least like 55 degrees to use that stuff. So that's why temperature is huge when you're talking restoration. So body fillers and paints and stuff, they don't like to be at anything below. I mean, honestly, I would like it to be 60. Right now you can hear the heaters going, and it's keeping it around, I don't know, like 50, but it's running pretty continuously. So all right guys, so I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again and again and again, I'm sure. I started in a 1-car garage, and I wasn't doing this for customers in a 1-car garage. I was just working on my own Nova, and actually if you go back to some of my earlier videos on my YouTube channel, that was what I was working in, was a 1-car garage. And now look at this space. I mean, it's just insane the amount of space that I have right now. So super duper grateful for that. And the amount of fun I'm gonna have in here is just gonna be crazy. I can't even wrap my head around some of the things that I'm gonna be able to do in here. So, all right guys, so the rest of the stuff is gonna go pretty quick, especially with the ceiling and the blown in insulation. Probably by the next video, which is gonna be the 67 Mustang, I'm gonna start tearing into that. But by the next video, probably, that stuff's already gonna be done. I'm not gonna go into detail about that kind of stuff. I know we're going 16 inches on center for the purlins, if you will, on so we can have something to screw the drywall to. So, and then the blown in will go on top of that. So the only reason we're doing the drywall is just to get some insulation up there and keep the heat down here. So maybe at a later time I'll go in and go more in depth on it, but the next video you guys are gonna see is probably gonna be the 67 because I have to keep working on other stuff. Obviously the 56 is the priority right now, but with the temperature not being up to where we need it for body filler and primers and paints and stuff like that, and we don't have our paint booth officially over there, so the 56 is just gonna have to wait. But very, very, very soon I'll be able to start working on it too. So I know I haven't shared a whole lot of videos on this, but everything is stripped down, pretty much ready for primer, and priming this thing will be the next step, really. It's filthy from my other barn, but you get the point. New floor pans, new rockers, all that stuff was on a video. It's got a brand new front suspension on it with all tubular parts, so that's very good setup. But if you're interested in seeing this build, I'll link to it over here in the corner of the screen, and you'll be able to look at that. But for the next video, you're definitely gonna see me start tearing into this thing. All right guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all the subscribers. If you haven't yet and you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. So yeah, I'm gonna start getting this stuff knocked out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.